Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Spirits of Vengeance Issue 4. And this issue was pretty interesting. It took some routes that I didn't quite expect, but it's set up for an endgame scenario that really kind of is pretty dire. So, we're starting off, and Blade and Zatanna are talking to the woman who betrayed the guards of the Judas Silver, and how she was willing to kind of deal with them a little bit because Razan had been sent to kill her, and she was hiding out, and she kind of wanted to get that wrapped up. And she gives them the information about Ragnar, the dwarf that was smithing the weapon for Necrodamus. And Zatanna is the one that knows kind of where to find him. So while they go off to kind of figure out how to do stuff with that, we get back into Necrodamus talking with Razan, being like, alright, we're really getting close to this. And we're just getting a little bit more backstory on Razan. Her father's evidently Osiris. And seeing that kind of dropped gave another kind of interesting connection that I kind of wish had been explored a little bit more. Now granted, I understand that this is a mini-series, but kind of daughter of Osiris, dealing around with all of this underworld supernatural stuff, her being a demigod, there could have been some cool stuff. And granted, there still is, since she is bound to serve Necrodamus to honor a debt. And seeing if he wants help opening this thing and all that was kind of interesting while we got that information. So, our heroes get to the volcano where Ragnar is. Damon pretty much tries to do a pretense that they want Ragnar to smith something impossible for them, but of course Ragnar is able to see through it, and oddly enough, refers to himself in the third person a lot, where Johnny makes the joke, like Johnny Blaze, referring to himself in the third person while he's talking to Blade. I like the Spirits of Vengeance aspect, but whenever they do another Blade series, like either a Blade series or a Ghost Rider series, I really want them to do a team-up thing, because I really like their banter and everything back and forth that I've been seeing throughout this miniseries. So, of course, Ragnar sees through it and tries to pretty much take him out, but of course Johnny blazes up into the Ghost Rider, and Ragnar's like, I use the hottest of fires and everything. He's like, yeah, how about mine? Mine burned the soul. And he's pretty much able to capture him and get a little bit more detail on the Covenant, that it is happening very soon, tomorrow night. So, they are pretty much trying to figure out what's going on while we get back to Necrodamus talking to the demon, Beleth, and saying that, listen, due to the Covenant, I can't do anything. You're on your own. You're going to have to do what you have to do. So evidently they've exploited this loophole. Agents of Heaven and Agents of Hell cannot directly interfere with the Covenant. So that loophole only leaves mortals being able to do it. And, of course, Razan cautions him to not do this, but he goes pretty much the nothing ventured, nothing gained kind of thing. Nothing risked. If you don't risk it all for something, what's the point? You gotta risk a lot in order to gain a lot. And evidently he sees the ability and the opportunity to gain a lot from taking out an archangel, Michael. So, we'll have to see how this pans out for him. Because then we go to our heroes at the bar where the angel was first killed, that evidently that the Covenant is supposed to be taking place around there. And of course, Zatanna's getting a little bit pissed off and finds out that Damon is procrastinating. And they have to have this information of the Covenant, and who best to go and ask? Their father. They go to Lord Marduk, as he's being called at the moment, and we see this little kind of dude come in saying, we're being attacked. He's like, no, it's just my children. And then we kind of go over the whole stuff with the Covenant, how when he was being called Lucifer, when the idea of the Covenant was brought up, he questioned God, being like, how do I know you're not going to interfere? So God created the Covenant and stepped away. That way it was just the way it was, so that's why nothing's been going on with God, with the Covenant, because he wanted to make sure it was all fair and everything. And they bring up the whole thing of the loophole and all that, and he's going, well, we'll have to see. And bringing up the interesting parallel that with the whole Judas Silver and everything, that Judas felt like he was the one that was betrayed because of what the whole plan with Jesus was, which I thought was an interesting aspect. And then going on to the effect that the betrayal and vengeance are like this on the same coin but opposite sides. So I wonder if that's going to connect to the Ghost Rider in any way or whatnot, and saying that if this happened, that Judas's betrayal will have been avenged, his vengeance will be wreaked, and that he will be able, that once the safeguards are in effect, that once the emissary of heaven is killed, the doors to heaven will shut off, and that he will be able to unleash his army, as we see Damon and Satana see his army ready to invade and spread hell upon the earth. It's like, holy shit. That's a big thing. I didn't understand exactly kind of where the end game was going to be going with this, but having that being brought up was a pretty good end game to reveal. So then we get to the whole beginning of the Covenant. We see that Blade and Johnny have their eyes on it, and they start to go off to see what's going on. We see this giant flash of white light going through the everything, and we see Belith come up from the ground with this like flaming passageway, which is pretty cool. We see him meet with Michael and then exchange pleasantries as the Covenant begins. So that's a pretty cool way to set up for the last issue for what's going to be happening. It's a pretty good end point for this issue, so that way we're like, okay, next one, it's got to go all out. They have to either somehow stop this or make sure that heaven doesn't leave everything unattended, so that way all this hell's unleashed on Earth. So I'm really looking forward to how that battle is going to go, how our different characters are going to be used, and what's all going to happen with that. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.